Hi, and welcome to Rabbit and Moon Tarot. My name is Angel, and I'll be doing a collective read today. So, I'll start with some cards, see where we are at with the collective. My beautiful luminaries, let your energy kind of step forward. Let me pick up on what you're putting down, so to speak. And let's see where you're all at today. Okay, let's see. Where are my beautiful luminaries for today's reading? We have relief. The sense of finally something is done. Whatever that means. Finally, this is finally done. I got this off my back. I can check this off my list. I'm getting that kind of feeling. I did what I needed to do. Like a weight has been lifted. But also, I'm hearing, I finally said my piece. Now, said your piece as in peace? I gave myself peace, or peace as in a portion. So either you gave yourself peace, or you said, I said my piece. I said my portion. I said my thought. Either way, there is a lot of relief coming from that card, as per the word. Now let's continue going on, or going forward, pardon me, and see what else we have. Oh, we have volunteers. Let's see. So we have air. So we might be dealing with air signs. So if you're a Gemini, Aquarius, or a Libra, this might be particular to you. But you also could just be embodying air energy. So having a lot to do with conversations, intellect, logic, communication. It's swords. So lots of communication, logic, and intellect. What else do we have? We also have healer. Something is telling me that this sense of relief, this I'm so glad I did this, I said that this is done, it had to do with a conversation that needed to be had in order to kind of clear the air. And it has to do with like the energy of healing that needed to be said. I needed to stand up for myself, or needed to say, hey, you know what, it's okay. Let's have this conversation. Let me put your mind and heart to rest. Don't worry. Like, whatever it is, it does feel about speaking your piece, and it makes sense because air signs are all about communication and logic. So let's see what else we've got going with that. So I'm going to use some more oracles, similar in vibe. So between relief and communication, what is it about the relief and communication for our collective today? Relief and communication. So we have two cards, intention and emptiness. Ooh, okay. You know what this makes me feel like? This makes me feel like someone needed to hear a truth. Someone needed to hear the facts. Someone needed to be given a different perspective. Someone needed clarity. Because that emptiness, those pockets that they didn't have, or these areas where they didn't know or weren't aware, they were filling it in with probably the worst case scenario. But you're there to be like, no, your intention is to help them understand, to give them clarity, to give them understanding, to help them see the truth of the matter. Air sign, I'm seeing the Ace of Swords in my mind right now. So part of this relief has to do with perhaps helping someone else understand what information they might be lacking or what they're searching for. You are giving them clarity, and that helped stop them from filling these empty pockets of whatever they were thinking about with worst case scenarios. You're like, oh, no, that isn't it. This is actually what it is. My intention is to bring clarity. It could also be where the conversation that you're having is, yes, filling in those pockets, but also giving that person perspective, i.e., I'm letting you know how I feel so that you're not unaware that this affects me, that this hurts me, that this makes me happy, that this is what I look for, this is what I want to curate my life to have in whatever way. There does seem to be the feeling, though, that there was or has been or will be. I think I did was and has been, it's the same thing, that there was or will be a conversation that will bring a certain level of clarity. It'll stop someone from filling in the gaps, and that you can say, you know what, my intentions are to help you have clarity. Now, between the air sign and healer, so Gemini, Aquarius, Libra, there's healer energy, there's healing energy. So tell me more about that. Tell me more about that energy. Tell me more about that energy. Emotions. Yes, with this relief card, okay, this makes me feel like whatever conversation took place needed to happen. It needed it for clarity. It needed it for healing. Whether or not it was an argument that happened, and there needs to be a follow-up. There needs to be someone touching base with the other to be like, hey, are we still good? Because are we having this conversation, or are we fighting to hurt? Or are we fighting to fix? You know what I'm saying? Or maybe someone didn't have perspective about, how someone hurt, how they hurt someone, or how someone's action hurt them, and they don't know how to communicate it. There is some sort of conversation that brings emotional clarity that affects both parties. And that getting it off your chest, I do feel, collective, that you are the person who, that instigated this conversation, that wanted this conversation, that now that you said your piece, there is great relief. Okay, so I'm going to use another oracle card. I'm feeling it feels like a very oracle-led reading. Okay, so we have all of this energy of getting things off your chest, feeling a relief, like finally. It was like carrying a 2-ton sack. Now that I said what I said, maybe it'll help the situation. Maybe it'll help heal the situation. Maybe I will heal myself. Maybe it'll give people perspective. However it resonates, a conversation that was recently had or will happen soon is required. My candle just made this one right here just made the strangest little bubble sound. I don't know if you heard it, or maybe it did like a little action. I don't know. Confirmation. Bubbles. I just heard bubbles and then bubbling emotions. So maybe during this conversation, emotions kind of like bubbled to the surface, or maybe things that were unclear kind of came to the surface the way that bubbles rise. If it resonates, right? Okay, so let's keep going. I got a text message again. My last reading, I had put this on silent. It should be on silent again, and yet it's still coming through. These two messages, the last one I did and this one today, may be linked. Only you would know. Give me a second while I put that one on silent as well. Just give me a second. Okay, so sorry about that. That's so strange. That's 2 readings in a row that I actively put the do not disturb on my phone, and yet the message still came through. So the last message, this message, yes, may be connected, but it also carries in and of itself a message that something needs to come through. Something needs to come up. Something needs to be talked about. Okay? No amount of sweeping it under the rug, quote, putting it on silent or do not disturb will stop this conversation from happening. It needs to happen for clarity and for healing. Okay. All right, let's see. What other energy is kind of bopping around the collective right now? So we have, narcissist, someone too full of themselves. Now, I don't love this card, and I don't really love that term. But what it does tell me when I get this card, it tells me that someone in this situation and you have to be strong enough to know and identify if it is you. Someone in the situation has spent a lot of time kind of just focusing on what they want and what they need, and maybe has forgotten to check in with the people around them, whether they are their family, friends, close friends, loved ones, relationships. Someone has been focused a lot on themselves, and not in the way that is like shadow worky. It is the I just heard fear response. So maybe someone is anxious about getting hurt or getting their needs met, or whether or not someone will lie to them or leave them or be unfair to them. And so they act kind of out of fear, and they almost kind of this energy of, if I do this, if I do this, then they can't hurt me. Like if I say something first, then they can't say it to me. If I get here first, I'll get what I need, and without fear of being forgotten. Kind of like, I'm gonna get mines before someone else gets theirs, or I'm gonna do what I need to do, take care of myself, and not really think about other people. This may be a survival strategy for somebody. Because again, I don't love this term, but let's just keep moving on. Let's see what else is it. What else is going on in the collective? So honeymoon phase, attending someone's wedding. So those are, with this, okay. Okay, I'm just going to tell you what I think it says. If this has to do with a romantic relationship, you may be kind of, I don't want to say phasing out of, but you are passing those beginning months where you're all Twitter pated and you can't see anything but stars in your eyes for the person that you're dating. And I heard once that the first 3 months of dating someone, or 6 months of dating someone, they put their best foot forward. It isn't until the next 3 months or the next 6 months that you get to know the real person. Because everybody wants to be the best versions of themselves. But when you are with someone long enough, you start seeing how life kind of affects them or weighs on them, whether or not they respond to stress in a way that is stressful for you, or the way that they handle arguments or discord, complex feelings like sadness, shame, guilt, overwhelm. Kind of feels like the collective is slowly moving out of that Twitter pated like honeymoon new lover energy, and are starting to see that the person that they are connected to is not a narcissist. Again, I don't really love this card, but is imperfect. Okay? You're starting to see that this person's a human and they're not like the person plucked out of a romance novel. They are human. They have their strengths and the wonderful sides, but they also have their flaws in places where they are deeply human. And they're doing the best that they can. And sometimes the best that they can is survival, and sometimes that hurts others. So it kind of feels like a realization happening here. Let's keep going. Tell me more about this energy, this story, this occurrence. Then we have air sign, again, double confirmation. You are an Aquarius, a Gemini, or a Libra. You are that sun sign. It's your sun, moon, rising. Maybe it's a stellium. Maybe you just really are in the energy of, I want the truth. I want to be clear in my communication. This is what I need in order to move forward. Like maybe in the past, your energy was a little bit softer, a little bit more accepting. But right now, I feel like there's a little bit of rigidity to this energy where it's, yes, I want to be accommodating. Yes, I want to understand the person that I'm connected to, whether it be friends, family, or lover. But I also need to have these clear boundaries. I need clear communication. They need to be able to communicate to me clearly about whatever is going on in their life. Because if you want to move forward with clear communication, honesty, logic, you need to be able to open up. And that relief card that we have at the beginning tells me that there was or will be that moment where the cards, the proverbial cards, are on the table, and you will have an understanding, a better understanding and clarity about what's going on and transpiring in the relationship or in the connection that you currently have, the one that comes to your mind when I'm talking about all of this stuff. Let's get some more cards. Then we have earth sign. As above, so below. Air and earth. So one of two things. Either one of you is an earth sign, one of you is an air sign. You have strong placements in it. Or whoever this resonates has earth and air as major players in their chart. So this realization that you all are happening. You all are having it. Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry. The fact that I'm trying to say something, it's not coming out right. Maybe a little bit telling about how the conversation started. It might have been a little bit clunky. Perhaps it didn't start off super smooth, but it did happen, or it will happen. So I'm looking at someone who's going through a realization, an understanding that there needs to be a conversation in order to move forward in an amicable and truthful way, in a genuine way. If a connection is to continue, again, whether it be family, friends, or lovers, there needs to be equal communication, honesty, and clarity. This right here tells me that whoever this is, or whoever they are, understands that. They've got the 3D view, like the grounded view, and then they have the high perspective, like way up here. They can see a bird's eye view. Whoop. Oh my goodness. So then we have a spy card. Whenever the spy card comes out, I don't think someone is actually doing like espionage. But what I do think, much like this narcissist card, I have several ways of interpreting this. The spy card doesn't necessarily mean, like I said, espionage or like being a double agent. But what it does tell me is someone is paying very, very close attention to behaviors and whether they link up or match up with the words. Because we're talking about a conversation, a real deep conversation that needs to be had to provide clarity, to provide understanding, to let those emotions bubble to the surface so they can be addressed and so that you all can heal and create harmony. It has a lot to do with the conversation is catalyzed by someone seeing that actions and words are not matching up. Perhaps somebody in this connection says, I want you to be fully honest with me, and yet they have a hard time disclosing their vulnerability. Or someone who says, I'm clear as a bell every single time, but when you ask them a question, they're the master at sidestepping. There's the whole reason why this conversation is happening is because someone who has air and or earth or both is recognizing that the words and the actions aren't really adding up. So I'm going to go ahead and move these over a little bit. I'm going to get some tarot just to see what spirit would like. Am I going to have enough room? Well, it might be a little squished. But I'm going to get some tarot cards to see what spirit would like the collective to do with this information. Okay, so in regards to this person here, that is focusing a lot on self and what they need or what they want or what they require. And for some reason, I'm getting that out of as a sense of survival. Like maybe this is someone who in their childhood had to like either fight for attention or or to prove that they're worthy of attention. Maybe it's from parents, maybe it's from, elders like teachers or bosses or something. Someone that wasn't given their not due diligence. What am I trying to say? Um, someone wasn't recognizing them for the efforts that they were putting in, and so as a more mature person, an adult, they tend to kind of, I don't want to really use this, but I saw Ursine and I thought of a bull, and then I thought bulldozing. They kind of like bulldoze the situation to be like, I need these things to make sure I'm happy, and they kind of forget to check in with the other person. What does Spirit want us to understand? Oh, so we've got 3 cards. 6 of Cups. This person, whoever you're connected to, the conversation that's happening between you, collective, and the person, it does have to do with past life. And or there is a strong connection between you two. This is 6 of Cups. We also have the Tower card. This conversation, may shake shit up a little bit. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't have it. Sometimes, Marilyn Monroe quote, I know it's a cliche, but sometimes good things have to fall apart so that better things can come together. You got to think about it as you and your partner, you and your friend, you and your family member are like doing a renovation of a kitchen. Like you both have to break down some walls and put some effort in. And then you got to clear out the rubble in order to rebuild something better, more efficient. And something that serves both persons' needs. So there is confirmation that this is a strong connection, that it does come from past issues, that this conversation may create some upheaval, but it's in pursuit of the 9 of Pentacles. This is in pursuit of balance. This is in pursuit of abundance. This is in pursuit of happiness. This is in pursuit of making each person feel seen, heard, and cherished. Okay, the honeymoon phase. Tell us a little bit about this honeymoon phase, Spirit. So honeymoon phase is Queen of Wands in reverse. This kind of tells me that the honeymoon phase isn't a phase so much as how much you put into it. Okay? The Queen of Wands in upright is a manifestor, someone who can make things happen. But in reverse, it's someone who kind of doubts, doesn't believe in their own self. And the honeymoon phase is the quote idea that when people get together, that they are Twitter-pated, like I mentioned earlier, but as they move forward in the relationship, it's less intense and people fall out of love. But it isn't really necessarily that. Yes, I do believe in the Twitter-pated stage where you're falling in love. But at the same time, what made people fall in love, or what made people come together as best friends, or what holds people together as confidants or family members is continued effort. In relationships, we hear a lot online about, well, she changed after we got together, or he stopped doing that when we got together, or you know what, they don't put in the same effort, and therein lies a key. If you put in all this effort in order to connect with someone, why isn't that effort continued? So once you get connection, do you not continue to nurture it? It's like going to a plant store, buying a beautiful plant and being like, I've got this beautiful plant, I love it so much, and then you don't remember to water it, and then it withers. Is it because the flower changed, or is it because you forgot to water it? So there's something about this honeymoon phase that it's not necessarily just being Twitter-pated. Twitter-pated, yes, it's falling in love, but how do you stay in love? It's remembering putting the effort. Spirit is saying, don't forget to put in the effort. And sometimes that effort is these bigger, harder conversations. I also read in a psychology article once that the things that keep people together and in love is not only effort, but it's the feeling of when you're with someone, you realize how you've grown as a person, how you've transformed, not because they demanded it of it, but because you grew naturally together. growing together, putting effort together is what keeps love deep, lasting, having endurance and stamina. Okay, for these air and earth signs, let's get these. So we've got air sign is willing to defend their truth. Earth sign is ready to bring in their truth. So again, if you are air or earth, or encapsulating both, you are there going to defend your truth as well as bring in the truth, because you don't want to like be the air sign or the earth sign and not feel like you're doing what comes naturally to you. The air sign wants to communicate. Earth signs want to defend what is theirs. They're very grounded, right? Earth signs. So with this truth, it's wanting to bring in the truth, defend the truth, and to discover the truth. Again, as above, so below. I do feel like whoever this is has had some experience in this realm of healing or shadow work or conversation or what's the word I'm looking for? Or courageous conversations. How about that? They have some experience in having the harder talks. Not that they're bad, just conversations that need to be had. Now, with the person understanding and seeing things that don't necessarily always link up, like actions that don't match the words, we have Hierophant energy. That's Taurus energy, earth sign. So this person, not only do they pay attention, they may even be like the strong, silent type. It might be you, my collective, or it might be the person you're dealing with. They are the strong, silent type. They take notice. They watch and they listen. They don't speak without fact. They can recognize when there's a behavior being exhibited and words being spoken that don't match up, and they will bring that to your attention, or you will bring it to their attention. Bottom of the deck. Emperor energy. Yes, this is about being in your power, encapsulating King of Cups, King of Swords, King of Pentacles, King of Wands. Being diplomatic, taking action, being able to communicate, being grounded. All of these things come from this courageous conversation that you are going to have or have had. I don't know who needs to hear this, but well done you. Sometimes hard conversations, courageous conversations need to happen. We don't do it because we love them. We do it because it's necessary and it's right to be honest about what our wants, our needs are, our boundaries, our desires, all of those things, and then to hear them from the person that we are connected to. Sometimes you have to call a spade a spade. Sometimes you have to call people out on behaviors. Sometimes people will call you out on behaviors. The point of these conversations aren't to hurt. It is to help. It is to grow. It is to transmute. This person or you are not having this conversation to fight, but to mend, to fix, to grow, to alchemize, to heal. So that is the message that I have for today. Thank you so much for being here with me to read this energy. My name is Angel, and this is Rabbit and Moon Tarot, and I will see you at the next reading.